Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 1990. That movie is Tremors. Yeah, guys, somebody sent in all of the Tremors films. These 4, and I've got Tremors 5 for later this month. God, I hope these things are decent. Now, I have to say, before I go into this, if memory serves, I've probably seen most of Tremors. This sucker got a lot of television play in the mid-90s, so I've probably seen most of, if not all of it, in little bits and pieces about 20 years ago. The thing is I never got to sit down and watch it from start to finish. Now I have my chance. I actually get to see if this thing is any good. I'm sure I should hoping that it's good, because, as I said, I've got the other sequels here. I kinda have to get through them. And I have almost no hope on the sequels if the first one sucks. So I'm at least hoping that this thing is decent. And the only way I'm going to find out, guys, is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Tremors. Alright, I got a dumb question. So, Val and Earl just said, not 10 minutes ago, that they don't even have $50 to their name. After a day's worth of odd jobs, arguing and bickering, now they're gonna pull up stakes and they're gonna leave this little fucking town, which looks to have a population of about 7. So apparently, you can leave town, put all of your possessions in the back of a pickup truck with probably just a little over $50 to your fucking name, and you can make it. You learn something new every fucking day, guys. You know, guys, I was joking when I said that this town only had a population of about 7 people, but if these fucking worms continue to kill people as fast as they have been, I'm going to be disturbingly accurate with that fucking count, because the people in this town are dropping like fucking flies, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it. Okay, I'm curious how these perfectly round, perfectly smoothed poles are doing in the middle of the fucking desert. Honestly, guys, they honestly are in the middle of the desert. There's almost nothing there. Oh, but there happen to be 3 poles that are perfect length to pole vault from rock to rock. Sure. The movie is sort of cool, guys, but some of this shit just isn't totally working, and it's kind of sort of pulling me out slightly. Wait. Why are they telling Bert to go to the roof of his home? We know that these graboid worm things can't do concrete. We saw one die as it plowed headfirst into a fucking concrete barrier. This basement looks kind of sort of fortified. It shouldn't... Okay, never mind, it does know how to get in. But if the previous thing with the concrete was anything to go by, it shouldn't have been able to have broken through. It should have just plowed right in and fucking died. Again, guys, this movie's interesting and everything. It's just the littlest things that are just bugging the fuck out of me, man. Okay, I have another dumb question. They know that their bullets aren't powerful enough to penetrate the dirt. Why then do they continue to waste ammo shooting at moving dirt, knowing full well it's not doing anything? They have what looked to be a bag full of homemade pipe bombs. Why not use those? You've already used one. It seemed to work to a point. It certainly did a fuckload more than shooting at the dirt, which we've established doesn't work. Again, guys, it's a really good movie. It's these little details that just irritate the shit out of me, though. Well, guys, that was Tremors. Let me shut that off. Okay. So, just trying to think of how to go about this. Alright, writing. Might as well start with the writing, because writing here, I know, guys, I talked about a lot of little bitty, fucking picky things that kind of bugged me over the course of the film. But the biggest positive a movie can have is to have flaws and not be brought down by them. So yes, while there are a lot of things I could talk about which just seem to fly in the face of logic and are just there and are basically done specifically to look cool, none of it really brings the film down. I could totally complain about how these, I guess, graboids they're called, can plow in, or rather one of them dies when it plows into a cement barrier, and yet it's able to punch through the basement of Heather and Bert's, compound. Heather and Bert, for those of you who don't know, if you've never seen Tremors, they basically were doomsday preppers before doomsday prepping was a fucking thing. So their house is like a fortified fortress with dozens of guns and shit in the basement. You'd think that, and then, as they're driving away, as everyone's trying to get out of town on a fucking bulldozer, you hear Bert mention that they had a fucking fallout shelter, tons of food, tons of gas, mountains of water, all of that shit. Now that tells me even more so that the basement was completely fortified. There's no way in hell a fucking graboid, no matter the size, would have plowed through it if a simple concrete barrier is enough to fucking kill one who's going at full speed. This sucker was booking it towards Bert's house. There's no way in hell it would have plowed through the barrier. I could totally hold that against the film. But I'm not. I'm not, because that is a minor nothing, and I really don't think most people are going to, try to put all of that together to think that that basement should have been a bit more fortified. There's no way in hell the goddamn thing would have plowed in. It's a minor nothing, and it's not worth talking about. Similar also to how Bert and Heather learn that their fucking ordnance, their bullets of every caliber they have, doesn't penetrate the dirt, so you can't shoot at them when they're underground, yet you see them multiple times after that firing at the ground. Thus, not only are they obviously not doing any damage, but they're also burning all of the ammo that they brought with them. And you'd think the two people who essentially are prepping for World War III, they literally are prepping for World War III, you'd think they'd be a touch more conservative with how they use their ammo. Again, that's just a minor nothing, and that's just a little detail that somebody like me picked up on. Is it something which hinders the film? Hell fucking no, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. It's just one of those things that you see it, and if you think about it for too fucking long, it is going to get to you. This movie, guys, it benefits from just shutting your brain off and just having fun. And if you do that, then none of the logical issues this movie has is going to get to you. And because this is a fucking monster movie, you're not supposed to think about it. You're not supposed to overly analyze this shit. You're just supposed to be along for the ride. And the ride is amazing. There is one thing I am going to hold against this fucking movie, though. There was one fucking character. Irritating little asshole. I wanted him to die. And they teased it like twice. And holy shit, if he would have just kicked off at either of those moments, I would have had nothing but boundless praise for this movie. That character was an annoying little asshole, was constantly goofing people into think that he had been, caught by these things. It's like, shit, if he would have died when he was on top of that little tin fucking shack, oh god, that scene would have been awesome. And outside of that one really shit character, everybody else here is really cool. I really got into every character, even the ones who are only on screen for like a few minutes and are there specifically to fucking die. I still liked all of them. Our characters here are very well fucking written. Our plot is, for the most part, well, written. Again, if you look past the logical what have you. The fact that our monsters here are ridiculously intelligent. That is something I really liked. You see, guys, monster movies can go one of two ways, all right? You either have a monster which is a borderline unstoppable engine of fucking doom, such as, say, the Aliens or Godzilla or, shit like that, where almost nothing logical is going to stop it. Mind you, that's in the good Alien movies, not the, bang bang, shoot 'em up bullshit action aliens crap. In the good Alien films, the fucking xenomorphs are borderline unstoppable, and Godzilla is borderline unstoppable. That is fun. But sometimes you want a monster that can think, that is able to just work ahead. The Predator comes to mind on that, and so do the fucking graboids. These things have to work with sound. That is the only way that they can track anyone. And if they know that, and if they know that there is prey, and that the prey is hiding on top of a building, they will tear the building down from under fucking neath to get to said prey. If they know that they are driving down a fucking road, they will dig a trap. Guys, it's not often that a fucking monster movie has monsters that are willing to place traps. That was awesome. And of course, if the humans attempt to place fucking traps, those traps work once. Such as the instance when they all went fishing with pipe bombs, because they knew that if you tossed out a pipe bomb connected to a very long length of rope and you started slowly pulling it in, fucking things were going to grab it because there is movement there. And then kaboom! Of course, the next one's not going to fall for that, so every single trick works once, which is always cool because it means then that the characters have to constantly think of more ways of taking care of these enemies, and that's awesome. Guys, writing here is incredibly strong, again, as long as you shut your brain off and just go for the ride. And once more, that is one hell of an awesome ride. Now, acting. I think that's another thing which kind of saves this movie and sort of lets me look past a whole lot of the logical issues, is that for the most part, our cast is incredibly strong. If there's one person I had to put on a pedestal and say, walked the fuck away with everything, it would be Michael fucking Gross as Bert. And I know that Bert's in every single sequel, and that Michael Gross plays him in every film. He basically is the one connecting thread through all 5 Tremors films. And you know what? After seeing this, that's fucking awesome, because I want more Bert fucking Gummer in my life. Now, while he's the high point of acting, the woman tasked with playing his wife, Heather, is at the bottom end of this because she's played by Reba McEntire, and while Reba McEntire can sing, and my God, she can sing incredibly well, the bitch can't act. You don't even need to watch Tremors to learn this. She had a painfully unfunny sitcom for years where she showed episode after episode that she couldn't act to save her fucking soul. I don't know how she got that show. I don't know how the fuck she got cast in this. But Reba McEntire cannot act. Full stop. She just fucking can't. And the rest of our cast does an amazing, amazing job. So if they would have cast somebody with, acting talent as Heather, we would have had a rock-solid cast. We have here a cast who's almost nothing but high points, and then the massive crater that is Reba fucking McEntire trying and failing to act. But still, that's not too bad. If you have one bad actor amongst a rather limited cast, that's not too bad. I'm not going to hold the movie, I am not going to slam the movie because of one terrible actress who all fucking told has maybe about 30 lines of dialogue at best. She honestly doesn't have to say much, thank fuck. She's not in the movie too long, again, thank fuck. Perhaps maybe if her and that irritating kid had both died, I would have been happy. Spoiler, they both get to live. Also, I joked earlier about the population of fucking Perfection being only about 7 people. By the end of the movie, I was close. 8 people are left, so I'm pretty damn happy with the fact that I was able to make that kind of an estimate and be that close. So that's awesome. All right, special effects. Here, guys, is where this movie shines, is special effects. Because our monsters are fucking graboids, or these gigantic, like, worms or snakes, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They basically are like colossal snakes, or like huge worms, and they have, like, tentacles with jaws inside of their mouth, and all this shit had to be done with puppets, and it's all practical effects. And my God, it's amazing as practical effects. I'm certainly hoping that they stick with practical effects across the 4 sequels, but I'll find out as I rock through this month. But this movie uses nothing but practical effects, and fuck me dead, it uses those practical effects beautifully. Except for, like, one shot, and it's when the one graboid plows into Bert's basement. There's a shot of Bert with a fucking AR-15 or some other such gun, and he's just opening fire, and it's obvious that it's Michael Gross in front of a blue screen. And it just looks kind of cheap compared to everything else which is in the film. Now, mind you, that shot, again, that shot's all of about 3 seconds long. It's taken me a lot longer to fucking talk about it than you actually see it in the movie. However, that is still a rather noticeable flaw in special effects, so I do feel that it does warrant mention. However, when it comes to the actual graboids and all of the effects used for them, fucking beautiful. It looks amazing, and it's one of those movies that makes me really wish that we would go back to more practical effects in movies. This stuff looked awesome, and I fear that this would have all looked like shit if it was done in CG. This movie is a perfect candidate to show why practical effects are still a good thing. So yeah, guys, practical effects, special effects in general here, minus one fucking blue screen shot is awesome. Now, anything else I can talk about? Music. The score in here is really good. It is a rather twangy, country-ish kind of a score, and it works. It works incredibly well. What few actual songs are heard normally coming out of, like, car radios and car stereos, again, is a very country-heavy, soundtrack, and it's a decent country soundtrack. Mind you, country is not exactly my strong suit for music, but I will say that what is here certainly works. What is here is certainly decent. And honestly, I would not have asked for anything else. A country soundtrack and a country-sounding score fits this movie perfectly, and that's awesome. Now, the stuff that doesn't have, like, a country sound to it is the music that you hear, very, very rarely, I should mention, whenever someone is being attacked. There is a slightly more horror-ish sounding score whenever a fucking graboid is either stalking or full-blown attacking somebody. And even that stuff sounds amazing. Our sound mix is for the most part decent. I do have to say for the most part, because if you look close enough, and it's really noticeable on Blu-ray, a lot of dialogue looks as if it might have been looped in. Specifically to probably avoid a fucking R, rating. Because a lot of it is very clumsily edited swearing. Which is surprising, considering the amount of swearing that made it through. So, this thing must have, at one point, been even more vulgar, would have gotten a fucking R rating, and instead they decided to tone it back for a PG-13 rating for reasons I'm never going to fully understand. And if anything, it almost feels like it's been edited for television to a point, and then they slipped in their one lone utterance of fuck in like their 35 utterances of shit, while trimming back on almost everything else. At least that's how it sounds. And guys, when your theatrical film sounds almost like a television edit, that's usually a bit of a bad thing. I am not going to hold them against that, but I will say that in terms of sound mix, a lot of that fucking editing is also done a little bit it's also done a little bit lazily, and it does certainly make it stand out. Our lighting here is awesome. Our camera work is great. Guys, when all is said and done, I'm able to recommend Tremors. Fuck yes. Absolutely. If you guys have not seen Tremors, you totally have to check it out. And I'm going to tell you, after seeing the bits of it I saw about 20 years ago, a lot of this is not as I a lot of this is not as I remembered it. So, at least it still felt like a fresh movie to me. I'm totally happy to have it on Blu-ray. Now I'm just hoping that the sequels are just as good. And good God, I really want these sequels to be good. So yeah, guys, if you haven't watched Tremors, by all means check it out. And if you haven't seen it in years, go out and give it a second watch. This movie is just top-notch, awesome fun from start to finish. And even with the few flaws I found, the movie is still definitely worth owning. It is definitely worth checking out. Please, guys, swing on out and check out this movie. Now, Tremors came off the Amazon wish list, and I forgot to get the person's name. So we are going to have a bit of a jump cut here, and I'm going to look it up. So give me just one moment, guys. Okay, and I have pulled up my list here. Tremors came from Joseph. Please, guys, swing on out to Joseph's YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/user/Scorpion104. I am going to provide a link, guys. Please, by all means, check him out. I don't know what he all has over there. Joe, I thank you. I have been genuinely curious about Tremors for about the last 15 years. And I finally got my chance to watch it. It was fucking awesome, and I thank you for sending it in, because if you hadn't sent it in, I probably wouldn't have bothered. I probably would have put it off even more and more, and I would probably have never bothered watching it. So I do thank you for sending it in. That is fucking awesome. Once more, guys, that is youtube.com/user/Scorpion104. Oh boy. So I got 4 more Tremors films this month. That sounds like a lot of fun. But of course, you guys know how it is whenever I cover a film, franchise during a month. There's usually a second franchise I alternate with it. Yeah, and I'm looking at that one. Oh my God, that's going to be a chore. Anyway, I am not going to dwell on that. I am really happy about this. And it's been a while since I've seen a monster movie where the monster does a fuckload of thinking. In fact, the last time I saw that was Predator. And it's been a long-ass time since I watched Predator. I've got both Predator and Predator 2 on Blu-ray. I'm going to go watch those, because those movies are fucking awesome. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.